Hello. Let's say that we want to calculate the molecular formula for a compound. The key thing to remember when we're finding the molecular formulas is that the molecular formula is the unreduced formula for the compound, is the real formula for the compound, whereas the empirical formula is the reduced or simplest ratio. So for benzene, C6H6, C6H6 is the molecular formula. It is actually made from 6 carbons, 6 hydrogens. Each molecule is a ring of 6 carbons, but the ratio between carbon and hydrogen is 1 to 1, so the empirical formula would be CH. The key idea for these problems here, to find the molecular formula, we're going to use the idea that the molecular formula must be a whole number multiple of the empirical formula. If that's true, then its mass must also be a multiple of the empirical mass. Let's look at an example. The empirical formula of a compound is NO. If the molecular mass of this compound is 60 grams per mole, what is the molecular formula? I want to start off by finding the mass of NO. We only have one of each. Multiply it by the masses on the periodic table. Once I have the molecular mass, or the empirical mass here, I notice it's 30 grams. So how many times bigger is the real mass, the molecular mass, than the empirical mass? So I would divide both of them to figure out my ratio. 60 divided by 30 is about 2. It's pretty close to 2. If you don't end up getting a whole number here, you did it wrong. Go back and double check your mass. So what this is saying is that NO has about half the mass of 60. Or put another way, 60 is about twice the mass of NO, which means my molecular formula should be about twice my empirical formula. So we double the nitrogens to get 2, and we double the oxygens to get 2, meaning my empirical formula would be N2O2. Let's do one more example. A compound has a molecular mass of 180 grams per mole, and an empirical formula of CH2O. What is the molecular formula? So start off by finding the molar mass of my empirical formula. Once again, using numbers off the periodic table. Multiply them out, add them up, and we find that the empirical formula, again, has a mass of about 30 grams per mole. So let's say the real mass, the actual molecule's mass, is 180. How many times greater is 180 than 30? It's about 6 times greater. If the mass is 6 times greater, then the formula must be 6 times greater. So multiply carbons by 6, I'll get 6 carbons. Hydrogens by 6, there's already 2 there, so I'll end up with 12. And 6 times the oxygen gives 6. Glucose.